Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm going to be telling you guys about all of the books that I would like to read in November. I have a very big stack of books to get through today, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, these aren't the only books that I want to be reading. I'm in such a strange mood at the minute where I kind of want to read a bit of everything, so there are definitely going to be some books that aren't on this list that I might end up picking up if I fancy. Because I've been in such a weird reading mood, I do also have a mix of genres, so I have fantasy, dark academia, murder mysteries and middle grade, and I definitely think that that will help me get some reading done because I've been struggling this year, you guys, and it's not been fun. So hopefully that will give me a bit of variety and I can actually focus on reading again and enjoy it as well. Other than that though, I don't have too much more to say, so without further ado, let's just dive into the books. Now the first one is one that I've been desperate to get to ever since it arrived, and that one is Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. This is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers, and for those of you who don't know, I absolutely loved that book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars and it is definitely one of my favourite middle grades. So when I found out that the second book was being released, I of course pre-ordered it and I got this lovely Waterstones signed edition. So this does have a very nice print on the book itself, and it is also signed by the author. I did get the Waterstones exclusive edition of Amari and the Night Brothers as well, so I'm really happy that they match because you guys know I love pretty editions of books, especially books that I've loved. So very happy to have this one. Because this is the second book in a series, I can't tell you too much about this one in particular, but in the first book we follow our main character Amari, where at the start of the novel we find out that her brother Quentin has gone missing. No one seems to be talking about his disappearance though, it's kind of swept under the rug, and so Amari of course takes it upon herself to try and figure out what has happened to him. One day a mysterious briefcase arrives at Amari's door with strict instructions that only her eyes are meant to see what is inside. Of course she opens it and she finds that it's an invitation to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, which is a kind of underground supernatural world that normal people don't know about. In order to make sure that she does get a place at the Bureau though, Amari does need to compete in some trials against kids that have known about the supernatural world their whole lives, and so she is at a bit of a disadvantage, obviously not being from that world, but she has to compete in order for her to find out what happened to her brother. So this is jam-packed full of mythological creatures, trials as I mentioned, and there is also a villain in here as well. If you guys haven't picked up the first book yet, I would highly recommend that you do so. I think it's such a good book for all ages, and as I've said, I'm so excited to now own this one and to finally be getting to it in November. And then as we're talking about middle grades, it only makes sense to show you this book next. We have The Copper Gauntlet by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, and this is the second book in the Magisterium series by them. Now I actually do have the first book to hand, which is The Iron Trial, and I read this one last month. I want to say it might have been a bit longer than that, but essentially this is one that I've owned for years. I think I figured out that it was 7 years, which is insane, and so I did decide to finally pick it up, and oh my goodness you guys, I absolutely loved it. So in this book our main character Cal is called to do some tests in order to gain entry into the Iron Trial. Now he has no idea what to expect, but he does know that mages are not to be trusted. His father has raised him to hate magic and to also fear the mages and the magisterium, and so he does everything possible to fail these tests, but ultimately fails at failing. He is chosen to enter the magisterium, which is a kind of magic school where he will be taught some magic in order to fight in a decades-long war. Of course it's not that simple though. Things pop up along the way, things are revealed about certain characters and Cal himself, and it's all about him coming to terms with the fact that people might have been lying to him his whole life, and it's up to him now to figure out what is actually going on and who he is himself. I don't want to say too much more because I really don't want to spoil this, but once again we have a magic school supernatural book that features a lot of trials, so you can see that I do enjoy these types of stories, and I did enjoy the first one so much that I am now planning on reading the second book, and if I love this as much I will have to purchase the rest of the books in this series as well. Next up I have a murder mystery, and that one is At Bertram's Hotel by Agatha Christie. Now if you guys have watched a few of my TBR videos and maybe even my hauls, you'll know that I am collecting and reading Agatha Christie's books. I have started started with the Miss Marple books, and the next one I need to read is, of course, this one. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I have not picked up one of these books for months, and I honestly don't know why. I think, as I mentioned, it's just been the fact that I haven't really been reading much this year. I've been in a massive slump, and so I just haven't been picking these up. But I really do want to change that now. I want to get back into the swing of reading these. I want to possibly pick up one Agatha Christie book a month again, and I do think now that I only have 2 books left in the Miss Marple mysteries to read, so I definitely need to get a move on with this. But on the back it says, when Miss Marple comes up from the country for a holiday in London, she finds what she's looking for at Bertram's Hotel: traditional decor, impeccable service, and memories of childhood. What she doesn't expect is the unmistakable atmosphere of danger behind the highly polished veneer. Yet not even Miss Marple can foresee the violent chain of events set in motion when an eccentric guest makes his way to the airport on the wrong day. I love an Agatha Christie book. I think they are so easy to fly through. They're only short, but the mysteries in them are so complex, and I always have such a fun time trying to figure out who the culprit is. So I'm really hoping that I will have a good time with this one. I might even listen to the audiobook, we shall see, because a lot of Agatha Christie's books are available on Scribd. So if I can't find an audiobook for any of the other books in this stack, then that will probably be happening, because I do tend to listen to books on my commute to and from work, and I would of course like to be getting to the books that are on my TBRs. So this is one that should get read this month, and from what I remember from the TV adaptation of this, it's a good one, so I am very excited, and hopefully it won't take me too long to get through. Next up, I have a dark academia book, which is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I am finally hoping to read this, you guys. It's been a long time coming, but I really do want to get to this one this month, because the second book is coming out pretty soon. I want to say January or February next year. I do already have it pre-ordered, so I definitely feel like I need to get to this book to see whether I actually want to be buying it or not. I am going to read you the synopsis for this one, because honestly I have forgotten what it's about. So it just says here, Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. A dropout and the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved crime, the last thing she wants is to cause trouble. Not when Yale was supposed to be her fresh start, but a free ride to one of the world's most prestigious universities was bound to come with a catch. Alex has been tasked with monitoring the mysterious activities of Yale's secret societies that have yielded some of the most famous and influential people in the world. Now there's a dead girl on campus, and Alex seems to be the only person who won't accept the neat answer the police and campus administration have come up with for her murder, because Alex knows the secret societies are far more sinister and extraordinary than anyone ever imagined. They tamper with forbidden magic, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. Doesn't that just sound amazing, you guys? I had forgotten actually that this had a murder mystery element to it, so now I am even more excited to get to it. I feel like this is one that I'm going to absolutely love as soon as I start reading, or at least I hope that's the case. I have loved all of Leigh Bardugo's other books, so I'm really hoping that this is the same and that I can add it to my list of favourites. Next up, we have a bit of a different book for me, and I wasn't quite sure where to place it in this TBR. The book I'm talking about is Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee, and this was one that I actually got in an Illumicrate box not too long ago. All I remember about this one is that it involves a kind of heist. The synopsis for this one reads, history is told by the conquerors. Across the Western world, museums display the spoils of war, of conquest, of colonialism. Priceless pieces of art looted from other countries, kept even now. Will Chen plans to steal them back. A senior at Harvard, Will fits comfortably in his carefully curated roles. A perfect student, an art history major, an artist, a perfect son, the American dream. But when a shadowy corporation reaches out with an impossible and illegal job offer, Will finds himself as something else as well. The leader of a heist to steal back 5 priceless Chinese sculptures looted from Beijing centuries ago. His crew is every heist archetype one can imagine, or at least the closest he can get. Each has their own complicated relationship with China and the identity they've cultivated as Chinese Americans, but when Will asks, none of them can turn him down. If they succeed, they earn $50 million and a chance to make history. If they fail, It's not just the loss of everything they've dreamed for themselves, but yet another thwarted attempt to take back what colonialism has stolen. I think this is going to be a really powerful and impactful read. It's one that I've been meaning to pick up ever since I got it in that Illumicrate box, and I'm really happy to say that I will be getting to it this month. And then closing off this TBR, I do have 2 fantasy books to share with you guys. The first one is a beast of a book, but that one is Master of Shadows by Justin T. Call. This is a book that I've had ever since it came out. I want to say 3 years ago. Yeah, 2019. And I've just never gotten to it. However, Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction raves about this book, and so I thought I should finally give it a go because I trust Ashley's recommendations. I have very similar reading taste to her, and if she recommends a fantasy, you know I'm gonna pick it up. So yes, this is the next book I would like to get to. As I mentioned though, it is a big one. It's almost 600 pages from what I can see without spoiling myself, so this is going to be a commitment, but it's a book that I've been meaning to get to for the longest time. I would like to buy the second one as well in order to have a matching set, and obviously if I read this book and don't enjoy it, then I don't need to buy the second book. So it's about time I read this essentially. I'm very excited to get to it, and I do apologise, but once again I am going to read the synopsis because I have no idea what this book is about. As I mentioned, I bought it 3 years ago and haven't really looked at it since. So it says, the Academy of Chain Balu has stood against magic for centuries. Hidden from the world, acting from the shadows, it trains its students to detect and retrieve magic artifacts, which it jealously guards from the misuse of others. Because magic is dangerous, something that heals can also harm, and a power that aids one person may destroy another. Of the Academy's many students, only the most skilled can become avatars, warrior thieves capable of infiltrating the most heavily guarded vaults, and only the most determined can be trusted to resist the lure of magic. More than anything, a Nev de Breath wants to become one of them. So I don't feel like that gives too much away, but I am definitely intrigued. I know that this is going to be such a long series though from what Ashley has said. I can't quite remember the number off the top of my head, but it's going to be a commitment to read these books as they come out. But I feel like that is the best way for me to go with this series, because if I leave it till the end when all the books are out, it's just going to be way too intimidating and I'm never going to want to pick them up. So I'm really hoping I can get to this one this month as well, so that I can see if I do want to actually continue on with these books. And then the last book I'm going to mention today is These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. This is a gorgeous Fairy Loot edition, and the main reason that I have put this one on this TBR actually is because I have already pre-ordered the second book. Now I know some of you guys are probably going to shout at me for doing that, but I do have a feeling that I'm going to really enjoy this series, and because I had the Fairy Loot edition of this one, I did want a matching edition. So when they became available on Fairy Loot, I had to snatch it up, and lucky that I did, because the matching edition to this actually sold out. So I'm one of the very few people who were lucky enough to get their hands on it. For this one, I just have to read you the little snippet. Don't worry, it's not all that long. It just says, go to the Sealy Court, find the Queen's secret portal to enter the most dangerous place in Fairy, find my sister and rescue her from a power-hungry king. Child's play. That's all I need to know about this book, you guys. I knew it was about the Unseelie Court and the world of Fairy, and in case you guys don't know, I absolutely love the Fae. So as I mentioned, this should be one that I will love, and with the second book coming out soon, I thought it was definitely a time to read it. Not gonna lie, I haven't really heard any reviews for this book, and I'm not gonna go looking. This is one I'm definitely just gonna have to dive into unbiased and form my own opinion on, which I'm so excited to do. And if you guys would like to know what I thought of this book and all the books in this TBR, make sure to tune into my weekly reading vlogs, because that is where I will talk more in depth about them and my thoughts about the plots and the characters and all that jazz. So there we have it. These are all of the books that I would like to read in November. As I mentioned, this is not set in stone. I might read other things, but these are the books that I've been drawn to recently, and I of course wanted to film a video encompassing some of these books for you guys, just to let you know what I'm in the mood for. So I'm feeling optimistic. Hopefully I can get at least half of these read. I'd definitely be happy with that. But let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and your thoughts on them as well. Are there some that I need to prioritise over others? Or do you think I should just read whatever I fancy? If you made it this far into the video though and would like to let me know that you're still here, please do leave me some sort of magic emoji down below. A lot of these books feature magical trials and elements, so I feel like that's definitely fitting, but the emojis are completely up to your interpretation. Be as creative as you want with it, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. So if you would like to let me know that you're still here but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please please make sure to go ahead and do that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching, it truly does mean the world to me, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!